This is Jill.
And this is Corinne.
And you are listening to Scream Girl Squad. I just have to make that noise at you every chance I get. Thank you for joining us. We just viewed... I can't say the name of this movie. Teach me how to say that.
En español, por favor.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
What? Jill, ¿hablas español?
Just saying, they did a whole rap on that in Community.
Oh.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
I'm still impressed, because... Oh, well, I guess, do you know what you're saying?
Something about the library?
something library. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
So Jill and I just watched the partially bilingual The Curse of La Llorona.
La Llorona.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It is the name of an actual Mexican legend about a weeping woman.
Yes.
And for the rest of the Americans out there who may have watched Supernatural, they borrowed from this legend in the very first episode of Supernatural, where they encounter the woman in white, who, same legend. There's this legend of a woman who was super beautiful and also very jealous, and in a fit of jealous rage, she drowns her 2 kids. And then, unable to live with the guilt of having done such a horrific thing, she kills herself. And in the original Mexican legend, she gets up to the gates of heaven, and St. Peter's like, well, where are your kids? And she says, I don't know. And they say, well, you can't come in without them. So she returns to the earth, and she's cursed to roam around looking for her dead children. And failing that, apparently she wants to find a replacement.
Mm.
So that's what she does. Looks for kiddos that she can take for her own.
And the legend says at night. Mm. And so it's like, okay, kids, you have to stay in bed, because if you get up at night, La Llorona will come and get you.
Yeah, totally classic. Hey, kids, behave, or something truly terrifying will happen to you. Like, let's keep things in perspective and have some scale here, parents. Don't be like, oh, brush your teeth, or this woman will drown you in your sleep.
Right? But I think all parents use some form of the boogeyman to scare their children, right? I don't know. Maybe not all. I don't think my parents did, now that I think about it. But I think that's like a typical... I had cousins who would scare us all with boogeymans. I still can't sleep on the edge of a tent.
Yeah, I can't fall asleep if any of my limbs are hanging off the edge of a bed.
Yeah. All these things.
But I think it was definitely more peer-induced than parents.
Yes.
My parents would usually, like, withhold something, like... You know, if you're not good, you won't get this prize, as opposed to if you're bad things will happen to you.
I think that's better parenting. I don't want to judge parenting, but don't scare your kids.
I think it would be... Well, I don't think that could be my parenting style anyway, because I would scare the hell out of myself. Like, in the effort of scaring my children, I would totally pull a Homer Simpson and be like, there might be boogeyman or boogeyman in this house. Let's board up all the windows. We're all terrified now. So, the basic premise of The Curse of La Llorona, which, by the way, is exactly my kind of movie. Mm-hmm. Paranormal, kids getting scared, parents being afraid for their kids. It's all just so relatable. Mm-hmm. So in The Curse of La Llorona, spoiler-free synopsis, there's a mother who essentially ignores the warning from another mother that there's a force out there that's going to get her children. And so she ends up having to fight this supernatural force. There you go. That's about all we can say without spoiling it.
I know, that's really like... I was trying to think of anything else you could add, and I was like, nope, that's pretty much the easiest gist. So, yeah.
But, I mean, Jill and I, before we watched the movie, neither one of us read a synopsis. I don't even remember seeing a preview for this.
I saw a preview, and then I told her the only thing I know about it is that it has the girl that I super love from ER and Freaks and Geeks in it, Linda Cardellini.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing I knew about it.
Yeah.
And that it was supposed to be scary. That's it.
That's really all it takes. Mm-hmm. This is supposed to be scary. You'll like this person that's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, if you like films set, especially horror films that are set in a time before cell phones, which I feel like it's kind of hard to write horror and mystery, in a world where everyone's so interconnected and we can search for things on our phone and call each other with warnings and stuff. This film is set in 1973. So lots of old clothing styles. Jill and I couldn't find as much to complain about as far as the clothes went as we did for 13 Ghosts.
That's true.
So set in 1973 in Los Angeles. And it was produced by James Wan, who you all already know. I'm a total fangirl of his films, especially the Conjuring universe and the Insidious universe. So,
and we didn't know that this was a movie of his until we watched it, so that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. Nice, pleasant.
That's what happens when you don't find out about movies.
During the film, I ate way too many of these stupid pieces of brownie brittle. So I guess that's going to be our rating system for the day. Is brownie brittle? Pieces of brownie brittle? Say it, Jill.
Brownie brittle. I can't! Brownie brittle.
Yep. In terms of sheer fun factor, how many pieces out of 5 of brownie brittle would you rate The Curse of La Llorona?
I'd say 4.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Highly enjoyed myself, but it wasn't like the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple slow patches here and there.
A couple cheesy things. We'll get to that.
I thought the movie was over at one point and didn't feel disappointed about it. Not in like a bad way. I was just like, oh, that's good, and then kept going. But yeah, overall, I'd say it's a pretty fun movie. Definitely my kind of movie. Paranormal, always way more fun for me than, real humans who are doing the killing.
Out of 5 wailing women, what would you rate its scariness?
I'd give it a 3.
Can I get it like 3.5?
Sure.
Okay.
What's giving it that extra half star for you?
It was just like, I don't know. I just felt like it needed a half. Yeah. 4 seemed too much. 3 seemed not enough.
So we have our first half rating at 3.5 weeping women.
Yep. Half a weeping woman sounds real good and scary.
Which half?
Well, if she's weeping.
You're right. Top half. The top part. I get it. Obviously. Yeah, I think there were definitely good jump scares, but this movie did something that always kind of bums me out, which is they show you too much of the antagonist too early. So I think that I would probably have given it a 4 if they had just held back on what the antagonist actually looked like in full detail. Because for me, the terror is in the not knowing, and
for sure. And they were really good at setting up creep factor and suspense, and you felt very tense. But I agree with you that I think they laid all their cards on their table pretty fast, which made it a little difficult for me.
Yeah. Yeah, another great horror movie did the same thing. Lights Out. Yeah, they showed what the ghost looked like way too soon.
Yeah, and that one, I was so excited for that one.
Yeah. Started off great.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about the Curse of La Llorona.
Yeah.
Since this one is just too dang hard to talk about without spoiling everything.
Seriously, we should just jump in.
Spoiler warning, please.
Spoilers, full spoilers.
Awesome. So, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the cast of this film. So, number 1.
The Mummy?
Yes! Did you know that? Like, during the movie? Did you recognize her during the film?
Immediately.
What?
Yeah.
I was shocked when I looked that up. So,
walking IMDb.
I recognized her from Arrested Development. She plays a character named Marta, who Michael is in love with on Arrested Development. She's like a soap opera star. So I recognized her from that. And then when I saw she was also Aung Suna Moon, I was mind blown.
Yeah, and she was the mummy from the Brendan Fraser mummy movie. Yeah.
Just sitting there the whole time knowing that.
You say, don't talk to me about the movie. Wait until the podcast. I was holding it in.
All right.
I wrote somewhere, and then the mummy shows up. So that was cool.
Yeah, she was excellent in it. Mm-hmm. And then
Linda Cardellini, we already gushed really about good. A little bit. Love her dearly.
Yeah, 2 really solid female leads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who else?
Well, there was. I'll get to my other guy.
Okay.
When he shows up in the film.
Okay.
But Patricia was pretty much right from the beginning. So.
Okay, just making sure. You said you wanted to hit on the cast.
Yeah. Well, that was what I was so excited about. Right, I was excited to tell you she was in the mummy.
Nice try. Seriously.
Can't get up early enough to out IMDb Jill. Cannot be done.
My family bought me Seen It, and they won't play with me.
I want to play Seen It with you.
Let's do it.
So, spoiler-full synopsis. You want to start us off?
Sure. So the movie starts out in a nice, serene, sunny field. Family's like playing Ring Around the Rosies or something. They were showing this nice, happy family. And then it sets up the tension pretty quick and shows one of the little boys walking through the woods and yelling for his brother and his mom. And he comes up upon a creek where his mom is drowning his brother.
So dark, so fast.
So dark, so fast. So scary. And then he goes to run away, and his mom grabs him. Mm-hmm. And that's it. It cuts out. Or does it show her drowning?
No, I think it just cuts out.
Just shows her drowning the first boy. Okay.
And I hadn't been positive it was the mom at first, because she had that veil over her face.
Agreed. Yeah. Now that you say that, I had that same... Who's this crazy woman drowning him in the river?
Yeah.
And then later, when they're telling you about how she drowned her kids, I was like, oh, it was the mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Origin story.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sees the veiled woman drowning the boy. I would be curious to know why she veiled her face to kill her children.
Okay, I was literally just having that exact same thought.
Okay.
And I was wondering... Because later on in the film, when the priest, Father Perez, is telling the main character this legend, he kind of describes the mom as almost going into like a fugue state, like that she didn't know what she was doing, and when she came out of that state and realized what she had done, she drowned herself. So I was kind of wondering if the veil was supposed to be a metaphor for her being taken over by her own jealous rage, like she wasn't herself.
Interesting.
But that's me. I don't know.
Sure?
Yeah.
Sure?
We're going to go with it.
All right. I mean, I got nothing else to go on, so that works for me. We start out with this really great, pleasant scene of the mom killing her kids. And then it flashes to just like this crazy, chaotic morning of Linda Cardellini trying to get her kids ready for school. Corinne and I don't have kids, but I remember trying to get ready for school, and it was this constant, put your pants on, get in the car, Anyway, trying to get everybody ready. And my sister has 4 kids. That's not an easy thing to gather up those hooligans and get them in the car. So there was only 2 kids. But anyway, so it was a chaotic morning. They're trying to get the kids ready to school, get them to the bus. She finally gets the kids out the door. You see the school bus drive away. And... she goes late to work, and her boss is giving her a hard time, and they say pretty quickly that she's now a single mom. Her husband died. Mm-hmm. And he was a cop, or did they say that later? So her husband was a cop, and he died. They don't really go into how, which is fine.
Yeah.
Probably killed in the line of duty. I'm just making an assumption here. Mm-hmm. So, talk about how she's a single mom, and she's having a hard time. She's a caseworker for social services. Mm-hmm. And so her boss is like, I'm going to give some of your cases away because she's less distracted than you, and she has help at home. And Linda Cardellini kind of snaps, and you're like, oh, her husband's not dead. Great. Yeah. She has no kids. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Way to crap on the single mom, So she has this one family that she's been working with, and her boss tries to give it to her coworker, and she, like, freaks out. She's like, no, she's not going to talk to her. Talk to me. She knows me. Let me go. And this is when we find out her husband was a cop, because the mom wants her to come in by herself, the mom that she goes to see. And the cop's like, no, your husband was a cop. Would he let you go in alone? And she's like, yes. All snotty. And makes the cop wait outside. And so she goes in, and this apartment with this mom where she's doing this welfare check is just a mess.
Yeah.
There's candles everywhere, and the mom just looks frazzled and like she hasn't slept in days. And this is the mummy.
Patricia.
The mummy mom.
Mummy mom.
She is wandering around. I mean, huge bags under her eyes. She looks like she hasn't slept. She's not making a lot of sense. And Linda Cardellini is asking about the boys, and she's like, they're safe. They're fine. They're safe. And she's like, well, where are they? And mummy mom is just like, they're safe. Like, mumbling, won't tell her where they are.
Yeah.
But they zoom in on this key that she's wearing around her neck. So Linda Cardellini's searching the apartment. You can tell she's, like, looking for signs of the boys.
Yeah.
And finds a closet that's all padlocked up and covered with eyes painted on it.
Yes.
Like crude paintings of eyes.
Yeah.
Really is the best way of saying that.
And basically, if you have a closet that's padlocked from the outside, that's never good. Can't think of a single situation where that's good.
Why would you ever need to padlock a closet? That's just not a thing. So Linda Cardellini is a social worker. She clearly sees signs of trouble and, like, I need to get in this closet. And she starts knocking on the door, trying to say, like, boys, are you in there? Whatever. The mom attacks her. He's like, don't open that door. And the cop breaks in the apartment, pulls the mom off of her, and Linda Cardellini grabs the key that was around her neck. Opens the closet. The boys are inside, and they're like, we can't come out. She'll hurt us. So, of course, they take the boys, put them in foster care. It's like a Catholic orphanage.
Yeah, some type of facility where they're sleeping in a dorm.
So then it flashes to nighttime. The boys are in bed. A priest comes in to check on them and wakes up the youngest boy. Carlos. And he, like, sees that his brother's not in the bed next to him.
Yeah, and he hears a woman crying.
Yes, he hears the woman crying. That's right. And he sees his brother isn't in the bed next to him, and he sees he's standing in the doorway. So he gets up and follows his brother, who is, like, in a trance, I would say. And then they do this really cool thing where last week when we watched 13 Ghosts, we talked about how flashing lights is not scary, but this way was scary.
Yes.
They did it in the right way, where it was like there was an electricity problem and they're walking down a hallway and the lights were kind of flashy, but in the way that, like,
that lights actually flashed.
Yes.
It was not stroby.
Yes.
It was flickering.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was in the way that throws you off and makes you uncomfortable, but doesn't
trigger seizures
or make you want to gouge your eyes out. It was like, ooh, that's creepy. Yeah. So it was the
kind that puts you on edge because every time the lights go out, there's enough space between them going out and coming back on that you start being terrified of what you're going to see when they come back on.
And the older brother was definitely, like, moving farther during the flashes and things like that.
They're kind of Carlos is following Tomas through the hallways of this big hospital-like facility. And Tomas, the older brother, goes around a corner. And when Carlos follows him around the corner, Tomas is just standing there looking at Carlos. And behind Carlos's shoulder, up in the corner, there's this round mirror, the kind that you see in, like, convenience stores and hallways. Yeah, so you can see who's coming around the corner. And there's nothing in it, but you're totally watching the mirror like, I don't like that that's there.
Right.
And then Tomas just lifts a finger and points up and above Carlos.
And then the mirror cracks.
Yeah.
And her face is in it.
Her face is in it, and the mirror cracks, and the lights go out.
And you're just like, no.
And then it shows Carlos's face, and there's water dripping above him. And he looks up, and La Llorona, the weeping woman, is right there in his face. Which was a good jump scare, but also showed us way too much of her face. Like, we could see every detail of it. The yellow eyes, the painted tears. It was,
everything.
Yeah.
Yep. And we knew right away how she operates, right? She draws the kids out and then captures them, and mirrors are a thing she uses. I mean, all of these things right away. Boom.
Yeah. And then it goes black, and Anna, the social worker mom, gets a phone call. Hey, you got to meet us by the river.
Yep. And she takes her kids because she's a single mom and it's the middle of the night. What else are you going to do with your kids? Pulls up, tells her kids, stay in the car, and goes down to the river where her husband's old partner is there. Side note, husband's old partner was in Save the Last Dance with Julia Stiles. He was the boyfriend. Anywho, so they creepily, little boys covered in sheets. Then Mummy Mom shows up. And she's all upset, obviously. And she gets arrested.
Yeah.
Because they all just assume she was abusing her kids. She killed them.
And she's pointing at Anna and shouting, this was your fault. You did this. And now she has them. And as they're taking Patricia, a.k.a. Mommy Mom, away in the cop car, she locks eyes with Anna's son, Chris, and stares him down.
Yeah.
And then pulls away.
Yeah. Very unsettling.
Yeah.
You know, she's creepy.
Yeah.
Mummy. Anyway, so, her son decides, I'm going to get out of the car and see a dead body. I don't know that he knows that's what's going on, but he wants to get out of the car and see what's going on. And earlier in the movie, he had been, like, playing police. You know, like, I think he's just curious about that kind of stuff. So he sneaks out. He wants to see what's going on. And he sees the police all around. And sees everything. And then hears a woman crying. And you immediately are like, don't do it, kid.
Yeah.
Don't follow the crying. But of course he does, because this is a movie. So here's a woman crying, finds a woman in white with a veil over her face, crying. What are the odds of that?
In like a pile of garbage.
Right.
By the river.
Just, hiding in a box by the river. And she, like, immediately stands up and comes at him.
Yeah. She grabs his arm, and it, like, burns.
Yes. And he freaks out, runs back to the car, gets his sister to let him in. Oh. And then they have the typical scary movie car scene, right? Where the kids are in the car and the, like, dome light is on. So you can't really see outside, but you can kind of see outside. And her face was there. I can't remember. Was her face in the window?
Yeah, Chris is looking out the window, getting his face, like, closer to the glass, and her reflection is there, which immediately flashes back to his own reflection.
Yeah.
And then the car windows of this old 1970s station wagon start cranking down.
Yeah, the awesome roll the window down is an actual thing, because they're, like, the window roller part is spinning and the windows are coming down. And so he freaks out, starts rolling it back up. And then one of the windows in the front of the car starts doing it. So he jumps up there and he's, like, struggling with all his might, trying to roll it back up and stop the window from rolling down.
Yeah. Good creepy scene. Super tense.
Yeah. Good creepy scene. You're freaking out. All of a sudden, the other door unlocks and starts to open. And he's, like, freaking out. And it's the mom.
Classic.
And so the mom's like, what is going on with you two? What is wrong? And they're both just freaking out. And I don't know that the little sister really knew what was going on, just that the windows were coming down and her brother was scared. And so she was scared. But they don't really tell the mom what happened.
They totally, throughout the whole film, lie to their mom about everything creepy that's happening.
And not really lie, they just don't tell her. They're just like, oh no, everything's fine.
Well, and a couple times they lie later. But this time he's just, like, telling his mom, oh, I must have imagined something scary. Even though he's looking down at his arm and there's, like, bruises there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the next day, the next scene, they are attending a memorial outside of a church for the two boys. And there's a guy there. Is it the same priest Raphael who's doing the smudging?
No.
Okay.
It was just a group of people doing the smudging.
Yeah. So they had like a big sage bundle and some type of feather, like a big eagle feather. And they're smudging to cleanse any bad energy away from the people that are attending the memorial. And Anna's watching them and strikes up a conversation with a priest who also was a priest in the first Annabelle movie.
Yes.
Which was our first kind of hint that this was related. And she asks him if he's ever heard of La Llorona, because Patricia screamed that name at her earlier when she's screaming, it's your fault, she has them. And Anna asked who, and Patricia said, La Llorona. So Anna asked the priest if he's ever heard of it.
And he kind of talks about how, like with the smudging, he says, they believe in what they believe in, but if they believe in this, then they'll believe in that, and points at his church. So it's like he kind of lets them have their legends and other beliefs, because then they're believing in something, which makes it easier for them to believe in God. So as a priest, he's like, yeah, sure, believe in these things, because
faith is
you're
faith.
believing in something. Yeah. Which was like a good setup to, they believe in evil spirits and things, and so they put a lot of stock into this La Llorona legend. And so he brings her into the church and explains to her the origin story of the woman in Mexico who drowns her 2 children and now is roaming the earth searching for more children. And she asks him if he believes it, and he's like, he's like, I believe a lot of things, and gives her a cross. And she's like, well, I'm not religious. My husband was. And he's like, doesn't matter. And gives her the cross. And she's just like, well, that was a nice priest man, and walks away. Like, it's not really...
It doesn't really impress on her.
Right. Like, she doesn't seem to put a ton of stock in it. And then, what my favorite scene happens.
Oh, yes.
So... it flashes to the daughter, and she's at home, and they live in this house with a pool in the backyard, nice big yard. It's rainy. So the daughter, in like her rain slicker and umbrella, goes outside.
Her clear umbrella.
Her clear plastic umbrella.
She opens her umbrella, and through the plastic of the umbrella, she can see La Llorona.
Yeah.
Just like standing there.
And she like moves the umbrella up, and she's gone.
Yeah.
So it's just like through the clear plastic, you see this creepy woman standing there.
Yeah. And her veil is over her face. So you don't see like the full detail face. It's still that creepy veiled figure. Oh God, I got goosebumps just now, like talking about it. It was
seriously,
such a good scene.
It was the coolest shot ever. And so then the wind picks up, and it starts blowing the umbrella out of her hands and towards the pool. And the whole time you're just like screaming at the television set, what is wrong with you, little girl? Don't go in the pool. She drowns children. But, she clearly doesn't know what we know. But one of those audience moments where you're like, don't go in the basement.
There's so much dread.
Yeah. You're just like, don't go near the pool. I always think of the fairies in Sleeping Beauty. Don't touch anything. So it's blowing the umbrella toward the pool, and she grabs the umbrella, and La Llorona grabs her and marks her.
Yeah, like
with the bruise thing that she does.
The Bernie bruise.
Yeah, the Bernie bruise. So then she still doesn't tell her mom.
Yeah. Well, she flat out lies, too.
Yeah.
She's like, I fell. That's why I'm hurt. I fell.
It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
So the husband's ex-partner comes over for dinner. Dancing guy. And the kids are just quiet, not eating. And the mom is looking at him like, I don't know. I got nothing. I have no idea what's wrong with the kids. And the kids are finally like, can we just go watch TV? And the mom's like, yeah, I guess.
And it's the 70s, so they've got awesome TV like Scooby-Doo cartoons and...
Which the IMDb trivia did talk about how they were watching Scooby-Doo, which is great because Linda Cardellini played Velma in the Scooby-Doo movies. Yeah. So that was a nice touch. I liked that. So husband's partner asks the mom to help him out with a case. Leaves her a case file. She's like, but I can't help you. This woman's angry at me. And he's like, what did your husband teach us? Angry people talk.
Yeah.
So...
Because the issue is that they think Patricia, Mummy Mom, killed her boys, but she's got a pretty solid alibi. So they want Anna to go talk to her to find out any more details. What happened,
get her to confess, all that kind of stuff. So,
and Anna's reviewing the case file and sees the photos of the Bernie bruises on the arms.
Yes. But before that happens, it shows this guy we haven't seen yet go into the apartment of Mummy Mom and start wandering around and gathering stuff up. And he gets like a vial of black goo.
Yeah, that was kind of, it was like black ectoplasm, and he scoops it into
he scoops it into this little vial.
Yeah.
No explanation about who he is or why he's doing such things.
But he is played by Tuco from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Have you watched those?
No.
Okay.
Which Corinne's husband, Kelly, was very excited about. It's a Breaking Bad guy.
Yeah. So in both of those shows, he plays this character, Tuco. He is completely insane. Like, just wildly unhinged. His first instinct is to murder or beat the holy crap out of anybody. Like, his underlings in this drug organization that he's in those shows are terrified of him because he's so unpredictable. And he plays it perfectly. He's terrifying. I would not care to meet this actor because I am scared of him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, is he going to be the person that helps them in the end? Like, I don't know how I feel about this because I'm totally freaked out by him.
Spoiler alert, he is.
Yeah. And there's like a lot of scenes later where he's kind of like being nice to the kids and making jokes, and the whole time I'm just like, nope.
Can't handle this. Nope.
But anyway, back in the world of the Curse of La Llorona,
right?
They did what was my favorite scene in the movie, where general creepiness ensues, and
like slowly, like they start panning around the house, and like the rocking horse is rocking by itself, and like random scary things just going around the house and showing how this house is creepy all by itself. Like, it doesn't need any help.
And it is a super creepy house. I'm still not sure if it is or isn't, but for a minute I thought it was the same house that they used for Insidious because it had sort of a similar layout.
I think it was a little different.
Yeah, I do think it was a little different, but like my house, it was shaped like a donut, where there's like a staircase in the middle and then all the other rooms interconnect in a circle. So there's a lot of mileage you can get from walking around, and there's like doors opening and closing themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, and the front door is opening and closing itself. And then when Anna rounds the corner, she sees that her son, Chris, who's kind of in a sleepwalky trance, he's opening and closing the door. And when she pulls him away from it, it keeps opening and then blows open.
Not okay with me. No. So she slams it shut and locks it again. And the only thing that was keeping it closed before was that it had a chain.
Yeah.
And so the son was just in his trance state pulling open the door, but the chain was stopping it.
And at this point, Anna still is pretty clueless about the whole supernatural element.
For sure.
She's just like, oh, you were sleepwalking again. Let's take you upstairs.
That was creepy, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are more people's first instincts not, holy shit, there's a ghost in my house? Because if I hear a weird sound in my house, despite having cats, my first thought is still always, oh, great, my house is haunted.
Right? Oh, crap. Demons.
Yeah.
Every time. Every time.
But in horror films, everyone's always like, everything's fine.
Yeah. Shannon gave me her cardboard cutout of David Tennant.
Oh, good.
We are terrorizing each other with this stupid thing. But yeah, my first thought is always demon. Oh no, David Tennant. Okay. It's just great.
Yes.
But we're having a blast. So yeah.
So she puts the kid to bed.
You can kind of see the daughter moving in bed in her room, which is adjacent. So it's one of those hallways that's like 2 bedrooms that face each other and one that faces away. So the mom's bedroom and the little girl's bedroom doors face each other down the length of the hallway. And the son's is like halfway down the hallway facing the other direction. So she like shuts his door and turns to her left and sees the daughter like moving around. And then Corinne's getting really excited. Do you want to tell this part?
Yes, it's so good. So the mom's just standing there with her back to her own bedroom, watching the daughter, like, lay in bed. And to her left, just chilling down another part of the hallway, is La Llorona with her veil over her face.
Just standing in the dark.
There. Yeah.
I missed it the first time. So Corinne and her husband both went, oh, and I was like, what? Like, yeah, the daughter was a little, was he like, did I miss? So we had to rewind it. So she had to show me again.
Because it was too good.
It was too good, but so subtle,
Yeah.
which I love.
Yeah.
That you don't always see it, you know, and so it was cool that it was there, but really you could easily miss it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jill totally missed it.
I totally missed it.
And it reminded me of something Jill and I are prepping to hopefully review the next season of, because they released a little teaser for, or announced the next season. But The Haunting of the House on the Hill, the Netflix series. Did I say that right?
Haunting of Hill House.
The Haunting of Hill House, the Netflix series. They did that so well, where there are so many scenes in that series where there's just a ghost chilling in the background and you're waiting for them to do something. And that is the scariest thing in the world. Mm-hmm. So she's standing there. She walks back into her room and the daughter's door starts closing. And of course, it has a mirror on the front.
Of course.
Who doesn't do that?
Why? We've talked before about our mirror issues. But yeah, why would you not have a mirror on the outside of your daughter's bedroom door?
Totally.
Sure. Totally. Totes normal.
It goes one direction. Nothing spooky. Starts going the other direction. And you see La Llorona in it again. And the mirror cracks. And the door slams shut. And at the same time, the mom's bedroom door slams shut and traps her inside. Mm-hmm. And an instant later, La Llorona is in the bedroom with the mom.
And the mom, like a total badass, grabs a baseball bat, thinking it's a person, and starts freaking out. What are you doing in my house? Mm-hmm. Like, yelling at this woman, quote unquote, with a baseball bat, which is totally great because she's a single mom and you got to do what you got to do. And I love that in fight or flight, she chose fight. Mm-hmm. She, you know, you learn pretty quick. She's not going to give up her kids without some struggle. So she's got the bat. She's ready to go. The kids burst in the room because she's screaming, get out of my house, get out of my house. And La Llorona disappears. Mm-hmm. So she just looks at the kids and she's totally freaked out. And she's like, why don't you guys sleep in my bed? And it shows her like not slept a wink, sitting in the chair next to the bed with her baseball bat, and the kids are sleeping in her bed, and you're
Which
just
is
like,
exactly what you would do.
So she goes to talk to mom. And Trisha blames her and says, La Llorona is going to come for your kids because I told her to. She's like, some people pray to God, and I prayed to her to bring my kids back and take yours instead. Mm-hmm. And Anna's pretty understandably freaked out about that.
Yes.
Because she saw her in her house. She knows something's amiss, so she's freaking out. Cuts back to her kids at home, and the attic door is slightly ajar. Attics are just another one of those things. Houses shouldn't have attics, especially with doors that you pull down and stairs come down. And this never ends well in any movie ever.
No, it's the exact same type of attic entrance as in the original Exorcist.
Yeah.
And it wasn't okay then. It's not okay now.
It's not okay ever. It's used a lot. It's never okay. Never. No good things happen.
Way too scary.
In the attic.
I don't think I could buy a house that had that type of attic entrance. Yeah.
Nope.
Couldn't do it.
Not without cementing that mofo up. There's no way. There's no way. Yeah, so the attic door is slightly ajar. The little boy's got the stick. Because you have to use a stick to open those things.
Yeah.
Why is that a thing? What's the safety level on that? How many people get beamed in the head? I want to know statistics. Who makes this? So the little boy's got a stick and he's trying to shut the door, and the whole time you're like, oh no, he's gonna get eaten. Mm-hmm. But he's fine. He shuts the door. Everything's fine. But then he hears his sister crying in her bedroom. So he goes into her bedroom and he's like, hey, what's wrong? You know, like looking for his sister. I can't remember her name.
Sam.
He goes looking for Sam, and he's like, Sam, what's wrong? And he hears her crying in her window seat behind the curtains.
Mm-hmm. Where she was earlier in the film.
Right.
After her
so
encounter with
you're just like,
umbrella.
oh, cool, she's sitting in the window seat again. Totally fine. BT Dubs, total window seat envy. Don't even care about 100%. The demons. I want a window seat.
They're the best place to read.
It was the best, like, reading nook window seat full of pillows. And, little jealous. So, the curtains start blowing, and La Llorona is in the curtains. Like, just blends in with the curtains.
Yeah, the hem of her dress is totally rippling with the curtains. That part of the scene was really well done.
Really, really well done. So he freaks out, tries to run away. She catches him, grabs him, and throws him down the stairs. Yeah. Just as the mom gets home. Mm-hmm. And Sam's screaming, crying. Something. Anyway, and the mom walks in and she's like, where's your brother? And she just, like, points, and he's on the stairs.
Yeah. So this necessitates a visit to the emergency room for a sprained arm.
Right.
And naturally, the doctor sees sprained arm, bunch of burns. Kid's totally freaked out and gives Anna the side eye. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen this before. Mm-hmm. So, of course, the cop partner and her coworker that she didn't want to take her cases shows up at her house and does a welfare check, which you got to give the doctor props for doing that.
100%. Real life is not a horror movie.
Right.
Definitely
especially in
don't
the 70s,
assume a ghost did it.
Like, and I mean, but even in the 70s, like, to have a doctor even say, like, oh, this looks fishy, like, I'm going to send someone to check on that, I think is incredible. Yeah. So, I mean, we got to give the doctor props for just assuming something bad was going on and saying, please go check it out.
Yeah.
Pretty great. So they come to do a welfare check. She's in the room, and the kids just keep looking at her like, what do you want us to say? And the cop has to remind her, like, you can't be here for this. You have to go.
Yeah.
Which is totally a normal thing, because kids aren't going to tell anyone that their mom's beating them if their mom's standing there staring at them. So they make the mom leave. The kids don't really tell them anything. They're just like, we're fine. Everything's fine. It was an accident. Yeah. So the partner gives him his phone number, and he's like, I promise I'll take care of you. You can always call me.
So the social worker and the cop leave, and Chris is watching TV, and Anna walks into the room and finally gets him to admit that he saw something. And she's starting to put the pieces together that he saw a woman in a white dress, just like what she saw in the house. But meanwhile, Sam is up in the bath.
And earlier in the movie, Sam had been in the bath, and she's at that age where she can mostly bathe herself, but then her mom comes in and, like, helps her rinse the shampoo out of her hair and make sure everything's good. Mm-hmm. You know, she's at that age where she's learning to do it by herself, but isn't quite there yet. So her mom comes in at the end and finishes up in the bath. So it, you know, flashes to Sam, and she's in the bath, and she's, you know, mom, she thinks it's her mom.
Oh, yeah. La Llorona's standing behind Sam, and she puts her icky, like,
hands
rotten
in her
hands.
hair and, like, helps her wash her hair. And she's like, Mom, that hurts. You're doing it too hard or whatever. And then she's like, rinse, because she knows, you know, she drops down in the tub, and La Llorona just holds her under the water. Mm-hmm. And about the same time as the mom and Chris are having the conversation about La Llorona, I can't say it. She hears, like, a thumping from upstairs because her daughter's just wailing in the bath, you know, flailing in the bathtub, trying to not drown. Mm-hmm. And she hears her, like, pounding against the porcelain or whatever. And so she runs up the stairs, and the door slams in her face, and she's trying to, like, break down the door, and her daughter's just submerged underwater this whole time. This movie was not great for a person with fear of water, just saying. There was lots of underwater scenes where I was like, breathe! I can't handle this! So the mom finally breaks down the bathroom door, gets the little girl out of the tub, and the brother's like, Mom, and points at the tub, and you just see hands, like, in the tub. It was very creepy.
Super creepy.
Super creepy. And then, does she attack the mom?
Oh, yeah. So Chris points behind Anna, and when Anna turns to look behind her, La Llorona's face is right there. And honestly, so in that scene as well, La Llorona's face is, like, fully exposed, yellow eyes, black tears. I wish that had been the first time that we had seen her, like, in full detail, but that's my personal opinion. So she's right there. She gets to see her full, like, demonic glory. And then next scene, they're, like, marching up the steps to the church.
Yes, yes. And that was, I mean, it was just full dead of sunlight where, nope, church.
Yeah.
Boom, going. And they talk to the priest who says he might be able to help because he's dealt with similar demonic things in the past. And it flashes to him walking away from the apartment building from the first Annabelle movie with the Annabelle doll.
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, oh my gosh, he's the priest from the Annabelle movie, of course. And
so this is all part of the Conjuring universe.
Yeah, because up to this point I was like, I've seen him before. I think he played a priest. I know he's one of the Dons in Zorro. And trying to place, I think he plays Geppetto in Once Upon a Time. Anyway, so you figure out he's the priest from Annabelle. And he says the church can help you, but it will take several weeks.
Yeah. And
she's like, we don't have several weeks. She tried to kill my children. She's actively trying to kill my children. We don't have several weeks.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, there's someone outside of the church who can help you. Someone else. And he's being a little mysterious about this person. And basically says he's distanced himself from the church, but he gets things done.
Yeah.
I mean,
he says he's an ex-priest,
yeah.
but also describes him as like a shaman that's kind of, doing things in a very unorthodox way, and makes it clear that she can pick one of two paths. Like, she can stay with Father Perez and go the slower church route, or she can go with this other guy who's faster.
And he does it right now.
He does it the Simpson way. It's the wrong way, but faster. So she makes the choice that I think we all would make in that situation of, I'd like help now, please.
Right.
And takes her children to this dude's sort of like spiritual shop.
So basically, he's like, you've got a case of the La Llorona, and I'll try and help you.
Oh, yeah. So he's like, go to the church. It's the church's problem.
Yeah, let the church fix it. And she's like, I already went to the church. They told me I can't do it. So what do I do? Take my kids to a motel? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
She doesn't attach herself to your house. It's you.
Which
doesn't
is
matter
super
where you
creepy.
go.
Such a creepy concept. And then cute little Sam is like, please, sir, help us. And
he's like, okay.
Yeah, who can say no to cute little Sam?
Her eyes get all big and childlike, So then he comes to the house, and they all are, like, rubbing eggs on the walls.
Yes.
Which is so funny. And they come down, and they're like, seriously, you're just going to rub eggs? Like, what's wrong with you? And he says, the bloodier the content, the greater the evil.
Yeah, it's some ritual called La Limpia.
Yeah.
And
so he, like, sets the eggs up on this white cloth, and then he goes to crack one, and it's full of black goo. And the mom's like, I saw that on Carson. And then all of a sudden, the eggs all start, like, standing up on end and then explode.
Yeah.
And black goo goes everywhere. And he goes, ta-da. And the daughter sassily goes, did you see that on Carson?
Yeah, which would have been such a cute moment if I wasn't like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I know what you're doing, Tuco.
This is too much. So yeah, full of black goo everywhere. So yeah, house is full of crazy amounts of evil. So they start blessing the house. He does the whole sage thing, I believe.
Oh yeah, he had a censer, which is like what you burn incense in a church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And they lit candles and put candles everywhere. And he has a really ornate carved cross that he explains to the children comes from trees in Mexico that the leaves are red, and when the sun shines through, it looks like they're on fire, and so they're fire trees. Mm-hmm. And fire trees were the only witnesses to La Llorona's sins, so they're her weakness. Mm-hmm. So he has this cross carved out of a fire tree, which I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was super cool.
And so they're doing all these things.
Oh, he also has a little vial of sanctified tears. Tears of La Llorona.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he was collecting that goo earlier, was to put in that same vial, which then he purified so it's not all black and goopy anymore.
Which her tears are black and goopy. Mm-hmm. So I wondered if it was her tears that he gathered up.
Yeah, I think she leaves them, where she does her evil and
Slimer style.
Yeah, exactly. And so he purified them, and he calls it anti-venom.
Yes, which I'm not gonna lie, made me roll my eyes a little bit. So I was like, sure. Her tears are her anti-venom, aren't they all? So La Llorona shows up, starts banging on the ceiling, and the mom and her kids are sitting in a circle of candles.
Yes. And that was the cheesiest line in the whole movie, because they're in this circle and he's explaining as long as the flame is steady, we know we're safe. And one of the kids asks, is she coming? And he goes, she's already here.
Yeah.
And that's one of those lines where you're like, you put that in for the preview.
Right? Okay. And she's banging around upstairs, and then she's looking for the kids or whatever. And when she can't find them, she screams, and all the candles blow out. So you're like, cool, not safe at all.
Which was cool.
Nice. What was the point of lighting all the candles? She blew them out in 10 seconds.
Seriously, 200 candles.
Seriously. And she's just like, nope, out. So then they did this really cool scene where the stairs were dark. Mm-hmm. And then they lightened them just a tiny bit so you could see her standing there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've got goosebumps again.
And then they darkened them again, and she was gone.
Yeah.
And then she drops from the ceiling on top of the mom and just throws her at the wall.
Yeah.
Ragdoll style. Mm-hmm. Done. So mom's unconscious, and the kids, freak out, crawl away, hide behind the couch.
They hide under the kitchen table.
Yeah. And Breaking Bad guy just sort of backs into the corner, into the dark all creepily.
Yeah, which I was like, what are you doing here? Because the candles that you lit did nothing. And everyone's getting thrown around by La Llorona, and you're just like, well,
peace. I'm out. Yeah, he just backs into a corner and, slowly lets the darkness consume him. It was really weird. Mm-hmm. So the kids crawl under the table with the tablecloth over it. We've all done it as kids, right? You make a fort under there. But so they're hiding under the table, and the tablecloth slowly starts coming up behind them.
So creepy.
And then slowly starts coming up in front of them, and you're just like, nope, nope, nope. And do they crawl up from the table, or does she move the table? So yeah.
She was when they crawl out from under the table, she's under the tablecloth, which gave me the impression that she took shape beneath the cloth, getting taller, and that's what was pulling it up. Yep. So, and then she lunges for Chris and grabs him and starts dragging him out of the house, and that's when the priest finally decides, oh right, I'm here, I should do something, and he throws the anti-venom sanctified tears in her face,
and which make her and let go of the boy and back away, and he covers the door with some sort of something.
It looked kind of like little brown pebbles that he spread under the threshold.
And so the mom wakes up somewhere in here, and the little boy starts yelling, why did you let her take us? What is wrong with you? And they pretty much get mad that he basically used the kids as bait. He used the whole family as bait. Mm-hmm. And then he said we had to trap her this way or whatever. So that he used seeds from the fire tree. And if you don't break the line, she can't get in. Mm-hmm. So obviously, they're going to break the line.
Yeah.
don't break the circle means somebody's going to break the circle. So
they have this giant house with at least 2, if not more, entrances. And he covers one of the entrances with the seeds.
Right.
And stands back and is like, all right, like,
done and
job
done. So then the back door starts opening, and the son's like, the back door, and runs back there, and he's like, oh, another door. Like, he looks genuinely surprised that there's another door. Like, he doesn't live in a house. How many houses have one door? Very few.
Mm-hmm.
So they run to the back door, and he's like, get some nails. We're going to nail the door shut. Like, why didn't we just do that in the first place if that's going to keep her out?
Yeah, during that thing where you're preparing with all of the candle lighting and the
why
wind
didn't we
chime
just
hanging.
nail all the doors and windows shut if that's going to keep her out?
Yes.
Like, that's step 1A. That's my problem with scary movies is we get to the end, and I'm like, hello? So Mom goes in the basement to get a hammer and nails. Because, sure.
Just totally leaving cute little Sam alone.
Yeah.
In the front room by the door.
Yeah. So then Sam's like, where's my doll? And looks out the front window, and the doll's in the middle of the porch. And she doesn't think, it's a trap. No, nothing. She is just like, cool, I'm gonna get it. So she opens the door, and she at least is smart enough to say, like, okay, I can't, like, break the seeds, but I can, like, lean over and grab my doll. Personally, I think it would have been a lot easier if she just stepped over it, grabbed the doll, and stepped back in. I don't understand.
Yes, I don't know why she thought
kneeling down and reaching for the doll was better.
Yeah.
I mean, she's little.
I get that she's little and kids have extremely flawed logic, but if you can't tell from the derisive tones Jill and I are using to relay dialogue and thought processes, this scene was, like, painful and frustrating.
Yeah.
Because the level of stupidity displayed by every single character was just way too much.
Like, nobody thinks, where's the little girl while we're battling with this door and gonna go get that. I mean, somebody's trying to kill my kids. If I go to get a hammer in the basement, I'm taking my kids with me. Like, I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah. Kind of weak. So, naturally, the kid, in the process of retrieving the doll, breaks the line of seeds.
Yeah, as the mom comes up and sees her and yells at her. And she gets sucked out of the front door.
Yeah. Totally airborne, just like snatched out of the house.
Yep.
And they immediately realize she's going to drown her, and we have a pool in the backyard. So they run for the back.
Run for the pool.
Yeah.
And the mom sees the doll, like, floating in the pool. And the mom just dives right in with the flashlight and starts looking for the little girl. And Corinne commented, and I as well, it was like, this pool has a whole lot of other junk in it.
Yeah.
Like,
there was a tricycle in there.
Yeah, she's looking for her daughter, and there's, like, all kinds of crap in the bottom of this pool. And she can't even find her daughter because there's so much other discarded junk in the pool.
Yeah.
Why is this a thing?
I don't know.
Yeah. So she finally finds her daughter, and she's like, oh, great, there she is, and swims over to her. And La Llorona, of course, attacks her and tries to kill her. And the ex-priest, I cannot remember his name. Raphael. A little too rough. Raphael, sorry.
What is that?
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think maybe the second one from the 80s.
Yeah.
Where they're like, it's quiet in here. A little too quiet. Hey, look, it's Raph. A little too Raph. I think it's Michelangelo. Anyway, every time. A little too Raph. Sorry, it's Raph. Your dad is Raph. They call him Raph. Anyway. It makes me laugh every time. A little too Raph. Anyway. So, easily sidetracked.
Yeah.
So
right as I'm screaming at the television, hey, stupid priest, bless the water.
Yeah.
He does.
He does.
So that was nice. He listened.
And he makes it holy water. I didn't know what that process entailed. Apparently there's some sort of powder involved. Salt. Salt water. Okay.
Yeah. Salt for purity and prayer.
Makes sense. Okay.
So he sanctifies the pool.
and makes the pool holy water. Mm-hmm. So now suddenly no demons can inhabit the pool.
Yeah.
So instead of just staying in the pool, they get out.
And Anna has snatched La Llorona's necklace off of her neck during the confrontation.
Like she did with the key in the beginning. Mm-hmm. She's proven herself to be quite wily. And
at this point, I thought the movie was over. Because we had, like, that big final confrontation. It made total sense to me that...
You bless the water.
And she's done. Like, where can she go? She must just be, like, evaporated or something.
Right.
Like, she's sanctified along with the pool. And the mom had the necklace, and I was like, cool, she's going to have the necklace now. I 100% expected the movie to be over.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Nope.
Yeah.
Fooled you.
It's like one of those songs where you're not sure. Like, it's just a really long song with, like, a dip in the middle.
Or, you know... The third Lord of the Rings that ends like 7 times. You're like, oh, this is it. Oh, nope. Nope, not yet.
No, not yet.
So, remember the beginning of the movie where Mom had locked her kids in the closet. So, they decide, hey, I'm going to lock my kids in the closet.
Oh, because they realize she's not dead. Like, they didn't manage to get rid of her because Sam is now walking around in a weird trance and trying to get out of the house and essentially go to La Llorona.
Right.
Because she's been marked so thoroughly.
And they basically say she's going to be in a trance until we get rid of her. Or until she dies. Spoiler alert, that's not what happens. Anyway, so...
Spoiler alert in the full spoiler section.
Just saying, that sort of bugged me, because they made this whole big deal about how she wasn't going to break this trance until they got rid of La Llorona, or she was eaten. And then, like, 10 seconds later, she's like, oh, no, not in a trance anymore.
Yeah, she's just sitting in the closet with her brother, like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. And, like, fully capable human for the rest of the movie. So, you know, whatever. So, yeah, lock the kids in the closet, and Mom... and Raphael are downstairs just chilling.
Yeah.
Like, just hanging out. Like,
we'll really... stash the kids in a closet. Not even a super secure one. It doesn't even have a padlock on the outside. And we'll go hang out in the den and gaze out the window.
Nowhere near the door.
Yeah.
So these gnarly feet start walking up the stairs with white...
hem. Kind of dancing
so you're just like, oh snap, here she comes. Again, Anna and Raphael are just chilling in the den. Finally they hear Chris screaming, Mom, and they run out, and Mom is trying to take the kids outside and cross the threshold.
Yes. And she has a gun.
Because she basically thinks that if she gives La Llorona these kids, her kids will come back. I don't know why she thinks that's a thing. I think it's clinging to fool's hope.
Oh, totally. Well, she's just she's like, you know, the whole term mad with grief.
Yes.
She is literally mad with grief.
She will do anything to get her kids back.
Yeah.
Including sacrificing somebody else's kids, which is just, I can't imagine getting to that point. So... she is trying to take the kids out, shoots Raphael in the shoulder, and clears away the fire tree seeds, and lets La Llorona in. She like immediately sweeps in, right?
Yeah, like the second that the seeds are gone, La Llorona like flies into the house, and she throws Anna into the basement and locks the door, trapping Anna in the basement. Raphael's down with the gunshot wound, and the kids flee up the stairs and fumble with that attic stick so that they can...
Because the kids decide, sure, let's go in the creepy attic. Yeah. Again, they're kids. Logic is not their strong suit.
Yeah.
Love them dearly. Seriously, why didn't they just...
I don't know.
run into the blessed pool? Yeah. Whatever.
Oh, yeah, so... that's true. They had, like, 2 clear paths. They could have run backwards out the back of the house and jumped in the water. Or they could have gone up to the attic and been trapped. And they were like, you know what? Let's go trap ourselves. Yeah.
Yep. So they go up to the attic. And it was a fairly well done scene. You know, it flashes to the mom beating on the basement door, trying to get out. And then the kids in the attic. And they're running around the attic. And furniture is moving itself around the attic.
Yeah.
and basically traps them.
Yes. And downstairs, Anna is screaming and begging and just pleading with Patricia to let her out. And you can see Patricia's face sort of start to change. Mom goes from stone cold, I want my kids back, to kind of sort of realizing the horror of what she's doing.
Right. Yeah. So she goes and opens the basement door. And, but then leaves, right? She's not there in the end.
Yeah, pretty much she lets Anna out of the basement and then...
Nopes out of there.
Yeah.
Yep. So Anna goes running upstairs. The kids are backing away while the Llorona is, like, cornering them. Mm-hmm. And Chris had grabbed the necklace at some point.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you knew how he got it.
I think she drops it when she gets thrown in the basement.
Oh,
he picks it up off the floor and runs upstairs.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So then he kind of shows her the necklace. And she changes from a demon into a totally normal-looking, beautiful woman. Mm-hmm. I don't understand this whole part. Well, like, why does seeing the necklace make her become normal?
So at the very beginning of the movie, back when they're playing Ring Around the Rosies in the Happy Field, her kids give her the necklace. And in Spanish, she tells them, like, I love it. I'm going to keep it forever. And then later on in the movie, when she's chasing Anna's kids around, she's telling them, you are my children. I'm going to keep you forever. So I think maybe losing the necklace and then being shown it by Chris was like a reminder of when her own son had presented the necklace to her. Maybe that's what they were going for.
Maybe.
But
for those of us who don't speak Spanish, we got none of that translated.
Oh, so. Yeah. The only subtitles were at the very beginning. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I wouldn't have caught up on any of that. I didn't catch any of that. So
I probably could have translated for you during. Sorry.
No. Well, I mean, it was stuff that I was like, if it's important, like, it'll...
Well, and for the most part, they would do both. You know, Patricia would be screaming at Anna, like, this is your fault, and she'd scream it in Spanish, and then for good measure, she'd scream it in English. So, yeah, I think for most of the important stuff...
Yeah, I didn't need to know stuff. And really, I was just like, oh, she's saying she wants the kids in Spanish. Like, you don't have to know what she's saying to get the gist. Yeah. But the words help with, I'll keep it forever, and I want to keep you forever. Like, those are both things that, as a non-Spanish speaker, I didn't get. But it's still, the point I came across just as well. Yeah. It was fine.
But I think that's what they were going for. So, unfortunately, as they're backing away, Sam's hand kind of, like, pulls on a fabric and uncovers a mirror, and La Llorona sees a glimpse of herself, and in the mirror, she's creepy yellow-eyed demon face, which turns her back into creepy yellow-eyed demon La Llorona lady.
And I was confused about that as well. Like, was that her punishment? Like,
I don't know.
Because she killed her kids, she has to be this ugly demon now.
Ooh. Well, they don't explain this at all, but I kind of like imagining that she's drowning her kid in the river and sees her own reflection in the water as she's doing that. And maybe that's what made her realize, dear God, what have I done? And so maybe seeing her reflection in that moment back then, maybe that's why she doesn't like seeing her own reflection now.
And so all the mirrors get broken and she doesn't want to look at it.
She did break all the mirrors, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Look at that. Somebody doesn't want to face what she's done. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I mean, who can blame her? Yep. I wouldn't be able to face myself.
No. Mom comes running up with Raphael and his shot self. So he has the cross and he tosses it to the mom and she just stakes La Llorona straight through the heart.
Yeah.
Which, like, there was no discussion about this. Why was stab her with the cross the first instinct? I don't know. There just wasn't... I was like, huh.
Yeah, there wasn't really
vampire style. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't foreshadow at all that... Like, they said that the seeds made her weak and the cross made her weak generally, but...
Yeah, anyway. She just stabs her straight through the heart with the cross, which, I mean, sure. Mm-hmm. And then she explodes black goo everywhere. And Raphael goes, Ta-da! Because for some reason, he's still got to crack jokes.
Yeah.
Not fit with his character at all, but it was great.
So Raphael leaves. That's all well and good. And then the mom is standing out on the sidewalk in front of the house, and the camera pans down, and there's a puddle of water on the sidewalk, and they show us her reflection in the water for a couple seconds.
And she looks a little...
tired?
Weird? Yeah, I don't even know how to explain, but it just shows the mom's reflection in the puddle. Roll credits.
Yeah, I was really hoping for more of like a thriller moment, like her eyes flash yellow or something, but there was nada.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It was weird.
End film.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so it was weird. The end. So here's the thing. I liked a lot about it. Mm-hmm. Clearly, you could tell by my description what I didn't like. The whole staking her with a cross thing. Maybe I've been watching too much Buffy. I'm not going to lie to you.
No,
Rachel and I have been rewatching Buffy. But yeah, it just felt very like, why is that what you had to do?
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I'm not clear on why she wouldn't be evaporated by existing in a pool of holy water.
Right.
But being stabbed by the wood of a tree that happened to be watching her, I don't know.
Yep.
It didn't satisfy me, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think this happens to me with a lot of paranormal horror movies, which are, I mean, it's easily my favorite subgenre of horror. Mm-hmm. But one weakness that I think it has is that they tend to have kind of weak climaxes. And this is definitely one of them, where, like, the best part of the movie is all the stuff that happens.
All the build-up.
Yeah, like, Act 2 is the best. And, but, I mean, on the whole, I still stand by my 4 out of 5 rating, because as ridiculous as the end scenes were, it was still really fun to watch.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And seriously, staking her with the cross and having her explode into black goo, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Even though I was, like, the whole time going... why? But it was cool.
Yeah. And I do like that it was a clean victory.
Yeah.
Like, they won.
Yeah.
So.
That always works out. There was no, sometimes they come back. There was none of that garbage, which is great.
Yeah.
Though I'm sure they'll bring her back.
Well, so what's interesting is it's part of the Conjuring universe. They introduced us to Raphael, this ex-priest who has his own unorthodox methods back in the 70s. So it's before the stuff... Well, no, it's around the same time period as all the stuff in The Conjuring is going on. So I'm wondering if they're opening it up and we're going to see more of Raphael in other James Wan-produced films.
I wondered that as well. Well, it's one of 2 movies in the universe that don't have the Warrens in it. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting, too. That when he was saying, well, I know a person, I was like, are they going to bring in the Warrens?
Yeah.
But then it was this other person. So...
And is the other Conjuring universe film without the Warrens, is that the first Annabelle?
I believe so.
Okay. I can't remember.
I believe so.
Because they make a brief appearance in The Nun.
Yeah. I think it's Annabelle.
Mm-hmm. I honestly, I love this universe.
I know.
So I do
it's
hope
great.
that there
it's
are
totally great.
more with him in it. But
yeah. I want him to just keep saying ta-da all over the place, because that was great.
And I'd like to give that actor a chance to grow on me in another role that he's not murdering everyone and breaking people's knees.
Yeah.
So.
But, there are some people that just never get past those sort of roles in your mind, and that's okay, too.
It's true. One of Kelly's favorite actors is... Oh, crap, what is his name? He's in the Conjuring universe. He plays Ed Warren. His name is...
Oh, Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson. He is one of Kelly's favorite actors. It has taken me all of the Conjuring films and the Insidious movies to get over the fact that I don't trust Patrick Wilson. Because the first thing that I ever saw him in was Hard Candy.
Which I won't watch because I want to keep liking Patrick Wilson.
Well, and it's a tough film.
That's what I've heard.
It's
and so
really tough subject matter.
I won't watch it. Yeah.
But that was my first time that I ever saw him. Or maybe my second. I think maybe I saw The Watchmen before that, but didn't really connect with him in it. So it's taken me so long to get over Hard Candy. So I think that for this actor who played Tuco, it's going to be a long journey.
Yep.
But maybe, just maybe, the Conjuring universe will help. So, yeah, that was The Curse of La Llorona.
Yes. I almost said it right most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, we said it right more than we said poor John Lithgow's name in the Pet Sematary episode. So, yeah.
There's that.
But thanks for listening, and tune in next time for more Scream Girl Squad.
Yay!